The committee has also failed to indicate the specific charges that I'm supposed to be defending myself against in order to allow me to adequately prepare a defense to the charges. The committee has gone on to permit two of the petitioners, Mr. Daniel Ofori and Shining Stars, not to testify at all or present what case they brought to them at the hearing.
So what can in camera hearing, in camera today, Ukoma Sama, Ukom, when a new pen of Wushia, and turning Cheddar, Biala, who go to be soon. Well, what's our body for Bakawa? No, want to man, or want to man with that.
Yeah, say there so ankasa tu a yeyiwa yibone na say uhwe Chief Justice senior nensem siti enkese mrana kasa esenke ekukuo mu asem nanso popo a onu kire mu aye popo ye ni kire no wokwa akwakohia committee kura senior ye bone set se ayi asata yi sesubio set senyu yentimi hu enti esese wono nso ba montes no magana fo hu de etuemu bisa aban amakwan committee na amakwan ama hearing na ama montes to no amekasa wanwe yi a na chese ya pamatade ne kabane selective rent media shana bra na eni kwase nkasa neba enti meka say mami Chief Justice Mame Gertrude Araba Isabatokunu a bibinti enipa binum susu senadwuma no enso ani nti yeden krata akoma abampanimfo miaton committee ayapa abedokoi a wo mudi hu ensem a yama natena enchen na bobo na tete ne na tepo ya wonamu ene sene wo hu kwan yede ne faso a ennam yie ena abusua wato ne boate ne sendrofo adimu nkomo sedie ayepinso na yenuanom adom news so ene aloya fobi edi nkomo age wona dwenkyere edi afa ho ni nyina wa ha edi afuntum France abusua yede edu we bomadina se wuti na wuhwe obe subscribe wa share wa like na wa comment ha eye konkonku TV
escalated beyond anything I could have imagined as possible. These violations include the committee's refusal in breach of the rules of natural justice to recognize my lawyer on the first day of proceedings simply because I was not personally present with him. And they went ahead to make arrangements for the hearing without involving my lawyer while he was sitting in front of them. The committee has also failed to indicate the specific charges that I'm supposed to be defending myself against in order to allow me to adequately prepare a defense to the charges. The committee has gone on to permit two of the petitioners, Mr. Daniel Ofori and Shining Stars, not to testify at all or present what case they brought to them at the hearing. The committee has refused to allow me to go into the hearing with any family member. Before you enter, there's a thorough search of my body and my handbag in violation of protocols and courtesies extended to any Chief Justice, which protocols and courtesies are honored in the name of the nation, both in Ghana and outside of Ghana. Of the committee is being conducted in a cordoned high security zone on Castle Drive, Osu, when all Article 146 proceedings since 1993 in facilities of the judicial service. It is hard not to reach the conclusion that the choice of venue against the backdrop of secrecy of proceedings is intended to intimidate me and to prevent any citizen of Ghana from knowing how the proceedings are being conducted. The Edu Lodge facility that the hearings are being conducted in featured very prominently in the planning of the murder of judges on June 30th, 1981. And this can be read about in the special investigative report on that terrible event in our nation's history. It will be recalled that there was a Major Samakwa, a military officer who was killed with the 3 High Court justices who was the Director of Human Resource of GOV'T. He was my uncle, my guardian, when I entered the University of Ghana in September 1980. I was also living with him at the time he was abducted and murdered. Was a good lodge chosen for my inquiry to make me feel insecure? I think so. And I continue to hold the view that there's no reason why a judicial hearing is being conducted behind the high walls of a good lodge. That every one of those allegations in the petitions that were given to me on 27th March is unfounded and untrue. And yet, the committee can dig up some documents they claim to be having from the president, which they have not shown to me, and purport to enter a recommendation for my removal on that basis. Allow me to say that this is totally unknown in the rule of law in this country. If it was lawful, I would have no reason to alert the nation of the dangers they represent. It is the violations of law that have forced me to bring these matters out in the light of day. That since these proceedings seem to be carefully staged to result in my removal as Chief Justice, it would be best if I just retired or resigned, rather than subject myself to an ill-motivated process. I have also received threats and veiled threats that if I fail to resign or retire voluntarily, I will be made to suffer some harm or the other. No one has the authority to walk away from proceedings started by the state. Judgment can be entered against you because you fail to defend yourself. And a judge who resigns or retires would still lose all entitlement because they failed to defend the claims and resigned or retired while the proceedings were still going on. Therefore, if false claims are made against a judge or commissioner or other public office holder subject to Article 146 proceedings, just to achieve a political agenda, the solution cannot be to resign or voluntarily retire out of frustration, pressure, or fear. You would only subject yourself to two cruelties: a judgment based on false claims and loss of everything you have worked for. It may well be that the efforts being made are intended to frustrate me so that I resign, so that the architects of the scheme can go back into the media and say that the wild and unfounded allegations were not defended because they were true and I had no defense to them. As Chief Justice of the nation, who has the privilege and obligation to lead administration of justice, I should not turn tail and run when I know the implications of not defending false and unwarranted. Finally, let me respectfully say that the current bizarre proceedings I have brought to your attention present a twist to a nation we all ignore at our own cost. My humble view is that Ghana has come too far in the 33 years of the Fourth Republic not to be concerned about the unconstitutionalities that have been designed not to affect just me personally as Chief Justice, but all judges and public officers subject to removal processes of Article 146, if this one is successfully carried out without being questioned.
Lawyer, Papa.
Yeah.
When say about the other man here. The Jassy. Mamma got to talk no. Chief Justice Abre ya suspended no. Ene woni nsem tro fo akasa wa kan nsem bebre minim se wutie bi na wa kire mu kura se atemu adwuma no mfirihia ekobesa duonum ana wa ye adwuma almost 50 years ana wa ye mu adwuma nti na che se wa che wo mu pa nimde ndu hwe de okuta bi na enye se kwan ye beyi no na enye kwan se su ne be fa ayi no wo nkiremu wo nsem ka odi nyina gudwa wutie bi no ni nsem no lawyer eto sen
asam no kan no edika watch imagine what kwan o je today the wopede wo yen hwehwema na o yen hwehwema pa kwan o wada wopodo what did you no o je today Quaya, what did I don't know, and yet papa. And some of them, and be a system there, or what such and that subject. I mean, never on my tire. Me, tell the wounded break a spirit to cry. Over Buddha name the Johnson. I'll be suspense and what I spend now. Or about inquiry for yet a woman searching about what preventing the queen none about what but John. Oh man, the man on the moment in the brains of that. Let him crash something there. Opi what was the fair do more about and you find a rope where the when you wanna hear the other about to crack and also there you pay a nipper. And as the other you are, and also to be to the way. So what can in camera here and in camera today, Ukoma Sama, Ukom when you pen a wishia, and turning shadow, Biala, who go to be soon, quite. Now, Madam Minion, you put a more quite the substance of the case, but I mean, here the chance, and you know, boy, I am a too much. I'm not sure my run one.
Now, no, what you say, share Quadua, Nipano, Ofori no de Bono. Sikakura, Omaka say, or 2 coin, or de a coy, best 14,000. Then we as your buy across it, the Okodi, or the Koyan, and one dear Kayo, or the buy balance when Bessiana, and Kayo de buy the crown, not just a best 9,000. Now, she answer me in an agent to see the Ayinua. Then she'll be in them. What is that? What can I say?
It's federal home. I had that good though. No judicial animal. So I had to create an information for judicial animal. Oh, yeah, then. I don't want to why you are. No one in the room planning now. Or 40 years recognize me on Yale Judicial Service. And the young European information. Only a fan thing and service will be a banana, will be a BBR. Number no, damn it, let me tell you there. Don't coding in once I will be for Bakawa. No, want to man, or want to man with that. Until I cannot Bakawa, you are can. Because them or can watch him. And when I ask some naba and say the member for another Mpono, and say you go my son. Number the more for doing the meter there, I shall there, honestly, on your can be a chance to baby. The queen wasn't number don't know why there was enough for Quambi na Capa. Not Chade, then I mean, to say, there you put now or the information will be no leaky manu, and now be no day. All the table no information man and come. But watch the Capa there. All this is a kind of quantity kind. No, yeah, no quarrel to there, or quarrel, or use maybe. And I no quarrel to there, more cakes in all the bank. Now, the matter me now, the Yama bar, and can never go my son. Now, woman, no, them might them the dano, or woman, them now people do, and send us away then. Or Cassa, I'm a that tipping double calling now, you with the chip.
A honor come in Bano. A honor come Banasanka, we know none can yet for public consumption. Son say, Mrano, Omode, Canasimiano, Chese, or say a cucum. Until you be said, Cucuma, Obia, the Pacho, lawyer, Manusikakra, Obia, why Chief Justice, with us, we never suspended your suspended war. Now, we need send us a Mrano, now also Utieti as one.
I would be put a move, baby, baby, and I can't say, get about mobile.
Matty.
Well, baby, what can number do? Well, what the number, no baby, what will do for copy? And also, or there offering us a fine, none so orchestra, organic. Feed them and make Kenya, and answer them or watch them in Yamaba and Tadamassam, the Dogomat in the first place. But the law Nakasa, no one can there. BBR, often the mission, and make a cone dinner, 1 year no cocoa. Now, my brother. Asama oye kuku petitions in Nadegua. In some in Nadegua. Kuku na work another stumma than I was a wonder some no. Only one no. It is a pretension. We are all pretending. Because if the state has a way of keeping everything in camera or in secrecy, something in Nadegua. something in there about the go for the some baby. Then woman no, if you show me the piece of wire there. That part of the constitution, I'll tell you that. Me, based on what I know, there I am some mankind cases in Lancaster, but cases to be Apple Court, Supreme Court, and you can now walk and ask some no. I judge, I walk and ask some name, more to coming in there. I remember that some no about the great court, Supreme Court in Zina. David Begwa some no offense, and some in them Supreme Court were Madam Ocano.
Okay,
Supreme Court Madam Ocano. I see that my man, no so the outfit also to the channel, no so to channel, and the other man will me open. Behind the Atabaha and who be Alpha. And she says that in another year would or that what about going in and so quite that way the over appointed the media some no committee the one who has 7 no and so I said the other gun the him but I don't believe no supposed to be bushman
what ansana where you jam work on the crown about justice Scott for my dean say as Oforino as someone omo kotena so kra hu atemu ba ye ma wono ekotia Oforino na justice Poaman so koma Ofori no ti se ne ho aba se Ofori ne de ho asem aba na nka nse se justice Poaman tena asem no so bi enso ya ma ne kwa ma na atena so bi na ne nyina kwa se asem no ye kan tiri sha mena mu what ne sa ne de ekoso ensimpai
yo honestly oya da jenche na no mom no mentum kada me shada me yeri adwenbo oya adwenche ono chene mom no the metachi there or it's there kwanya what the way I didn't no they no kwada da mo kwana wodi adwuma da no sna dwenche there nchembrampo makwan judges for my no way da sma manada ana we da some the fanda no ta some ba in channel tentam na no be in waiting na mbom no makasa da wo manyinya that cannot be a necessary basis both back at the judge into Bantrasamdo. But okay, or can't father, queda or whatever Nakasano. That's a damn way I did that, and chair, honestly, just Pamano, when you hook. Number no on Shredder, just for a man who found a Bantrasam. I'm a